Michael, you and I got to check out Battlemode in Doom Eternal, which is actually pretty cool, at least from what we saw. We played a couple hours of it. We checked out 2 different maps and got to play all the demons. But what's the gist of it?
The gist of it is that it's an asymmetrical multiplayer mode where one player is Doomslayer with all the weapons and abilities that you get from the single player, and then a team of 2 on the other side who can play as the demons. And the demons kind of play as different classes because they have different abilities, they have different attacks, ways of moving around the map. And I think it has a lot more depth than I think what you might see through in the gameplay, because once you get hands-on with it, you realize just how much is going on with Battlemode. And to talk about what Doomslayer brings for Battlemode is that it essentially has a recreation of what the single player is like, because you're using all those same abilities, because the demon team is spawning in minions that are demons. So you're going through the same motions, which is very exciting because that is the best part of the single player game, is getting in those combat arenas, using your chainsaw, using glory kills, using the flame belt to get armor back, and all of those things to keep yourself alive as these 2 demons are hounding you. The way id Software has translated the best parts of the single player game into the multiplayer, if you play as Doomslayer, it's impressive. I think it is.
So then what is the objective of these rounds? So is it just for the Doomslayer to basically clear the map, or do you have to kill the other players?
Yes, good question. So if you're playing as Doomslayer, you have to kill the 2 player controlled demons within a certain time frame, though. Because
so they respawn after, like, what was it, 30 seconds or something like that?
I think it's about 20 seconds-ish. Yeah. And you kind of have to think about the way you attack the player controlled demons, because if you kill one and you put yourself on a sort of countdown, I need to get to the next demon before the other one can respawn. So it kind of pushes you to be aggressive constantly. And once the other demon spawns back in, they'll have like half health so it'll make it a little bit easier for Doomslayer. It's not like you reset back to square one if you can't get to the other demon in time, but it still puts a lot of pressure on you. And that's how you win rounds as Doomslayer. As the demons, you just need to kill Doomslayer, period. And that sounds simple, but it's actually kind of complicated because of how Doomslayer can keep themselves alive with glory kills and chainsaw kills. So you might think that you have Doomslayer cornered, like, yo, we're gonna win the round because he's down to 10 health. This has happened to me as Doomslayer. I was down to 10 health, I hit a chainsaw kill on one of the minions, got my ammo back, got armor and health back, and then I came back to win the round because then I just turned it around. It's like a game of tug-of-war. But these rounds can go on for a very long time. They can end very quickly,
so there's no time limit, because at least what the developers were saying is they really like that back and forth, that tug and pull between the Doomslayer and demons. And they were saying that people in the office, those games would last 10, 20 minutes or so. If you've got a really good Doomslayer and 2 demons that are super well coordinated. Speaking of demons, though, what were some of the demons you got to play?
Ooh, we had 5 different demons that we could get hands-on with during the demo time, and there will be more in the future, but for now we have hands-on with the Manucubs, which is kind of a slow-moving tank. If you've seen him in the single-player mode, that it has 2 arm cannons.
Flamethrowers and
very like just a tank that can take on a lot of damage, but also do a lot of damage. Of course, you're limited in terms of mobility. You also play as a cacodemon and fly across the map, and it feels kind of good to be able to have that freedom to fly around on the map. It also creates a different kind of strategic aspect, because in one of the maps, when I was playing Doomslayer, the cacodemon would fly as high as possible and just like try and pick me off and distract me, while the other demons would come and attack me. So you really have to think about what all these demons bring to the table, because you can coordinate in that fashion. And my favorite was the Marauder, because you can throw an axe on one hand and you have a double-barrel shotgun on the other. So it's a really good aggressive style of demon, and I think that plays closest to how Doomslayer is. So you can do some really tricky things. And there's also Revenant, which has, I think, like rocket launchers and stuff, and some other abilities, some cool movement, and like jetpack, so you can move around the map more cleverly. There's just a lot going on with the different demons.
So we get a lot of time with Battlemode, though, and I think one of the concerns, especially if you're a newer player or if you haven't played through the single player, I think balance might be all over the place. I mean, especially like if you haven't finished the single player, you don't know what half these guns do, and you're going up against demons. They could crush you pretty quickly, or the opposite. If you're fighting against demons who just started and you're a pretty good Doomslayer, like you're gonna know exactly which weapons you need for each situation, and you could potentially clear them out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I do have a bit of hesitation when it comes to how matchmaking is going to play out, because if you're playing demons and you have another player who isn't really coordinating with you, I could see it falling apart rather quickly. So you'd want to have players on both sides who kind of know what they're doing, and that's going to be hard to find. I'm sure that the game will eventually find its footing after release, but I can see the ways in which balance would be an issue. Now, talking to Marty Stratton and Hugo Martin, internally they've had a lot of testing with balance and all that stuff, because they're putting a lot of resources into this, and they've gotten to a point where internally they're about 50-50 with that. But of course, things shake out differently when it actually goes public and people start to dip their toes into the multiplayer mode. And I think, we'll see updates and tweaks to how that's going to work. But in terms of playing at a high level, it's a very exciting kind of take on it. Whether you would like it or not, it's nice to see that Doom Eternal is trying something drastically different from the standard multiplayer modes that we saw in Doom 2016.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the most exciting things, right? Is that at least they're not trying that Doom 2016 multiplayer. They're trying something different. Hopefully, it works out, but only time will tell. Doom Eternal comes out March 20th, and for more, stay tuned to GameSpot.